What's up? Welcome to today's collective video. I am Leah and I'm a tarot and oracle reader, and I do collective general, sometimes pick a cards, but it's just kind of no different piles, just one big pile, one big video. And I channel with the divine. I love to spread a lot of different messages about love, about growing from pain, and trying to help the individual authentic self out, where we have a lot of different kind of similarities that can help one another out. So you just being here right now, you're a very important part of the video. I know, like, I'm, here, but you viewing it is such a powerful part of the process. And I'm getting that's what our, what the topic of today's video is about. I never really have them, like, I never really figure out what I'm talking about until, like, while filming. So this is kind of like, in real life, you're seeing it kind of develop. But we're going to be talking about right now for the collective, you in terms of you viewing another and how powerful you are in terms of the process of what unveils in the near future of whatever you're viewing at the time. So imagine, right, 5 minutes ago you were viewing a certain situation. Okay, maybe even like imagine at the beginning of the video, you're viewing me in a certain way. You had a certain mindset, a certain judgment about me in a certain way. And it's about right now with the collective tuning into where you're at, right, in the moment and what you're focused on in a way where it's not judging yourself, but observing and now allowing yourself to be like, oh, okay, so when I was like looking at like this person on the video recording, my mindset was like this certain way, or my judgment was like this certain way, and understanding exactly where it is that you're coming from when it comes to that certain kind of judgment. Because I'm getting that there's something about how looking at judgments right now in more so the observing way is going to really help you with a lot of things that you really have a desire in terms of fulfilling that kind of pleasure of. You have certain pleasures that you still need to like feel satisfied with, and there's something about how it's kind of interesting how your understanding of your own self-esteem gets influenced when it comes to what you're viewing outside of you, and how like your belief about desire and pleasure in the moment changes depending on what it is that you are outside of you being influenced by. So there's a lot of like taking a step back and seeing what is your own direction of perception in the moment, and seeing, okay, is this the direction I want to go for? Like, because it's kind of like you can see a little bit even before that certain incident, like let's say 10 minutes before, what was your vibe like? What was your focus like? What was your mindset like? And seeing maybe you just kind of shift in more of a subconscious way where it's not that you're intending to shift that way, but it's just ingrained pattern of behavior. And it's kind of like teaching yourself to change in ways where you were more conditioned before as a kid. So we have family elders, Hemimorphite and Chrysocolla. So family elders, totally understandable in terms of being influenced by outside of you. There is always a very interesting pull for all of us. Like, all of us, because we all grow from children into adults. And what kind of sets us apart is our own individual stories, like our own individual childhoods. But there's something about us all, from going from children to adults, needed to adapt and needed to kind of condition oneself in terms of ultimately feeling, I'm getting safe in oneself and one's embodiment. I'm getting that when it comes to the influence of elders and family, it's been a lot of you needing to mask who you really are, in terms of people just have beliefs about you being a certain way isn't correct, or it just, like, you have to give excuses of always being like, yeah, this is me, here's why. And it's more so you're wanting to really find, I'm getting this like unconditional, loving, accepting people who would in turn be your family, be your elders, right? There's something about that is being looked at, that area of your life right now. So it might be a little bit, take it with a grain of salt with what I say in the video, because it's really sensitive when it comes to talking about family and elders. It's frustrating too, because it's like sometimes you grow up and you think of life a certain way and life works with you a certain way, but for some reason it is like not correct to a certain member of your family or a certain member of the elders and who you listen to, right? So I'm getting that it's like more so not the entirety of people, but it's like select few people who, more than anything, it's because you accept yourself is the whole, for them, what's not okay. It's because they don't accept themselves, right? And they see you being yourself and accepting yourself and vibing out with yourself, and you're like, yeah, this is me authentically. And then they're like, no, that's not okay. It's because they themselves believe that it's not okay. It's not something where it's like literally a rule and no one, it's like this whole belief based. And so beliefs back up behaviors, right? And behaviors, after a while, you can have like patterns of behaviors that you don't even realize. So I'm getting that these patterns of behaviors right now for you that you're kind of like dealing with, because I'm getting that it's somehow causing some kind of friction with your community, with your friends. When it comes to elders too, what comes up is just people who have more experience in life, and it's kind of like right now you're butting heads with them. And I'm getting it's more so feeling stable in your own identity, knowing that it is different than your families, than your elders, and still honoring yourself, while at the same time understanding that the families and elders can have their own beliefs and their own way of life. Something about this whole need to compete, I don't know if that was a common theme for you growing up with your family or elders, where like, yeah, it's just kind of like competing for the attention of the room sort of thing. And you're someone I'm getting that is easily the star of the show, and you really don't have to do much. And that's where a lot of that friction comes from with your family members and your elders, is this like, they want to be like you so bad that they want to make you feel bad, so that them feeling bad about themselves is like okay, sort of thing. Like, it's kind of how they think, like, oh, kind of, yeah, competing, right? Like competing for the spotlight. You just being yourself, you are the spotlight. Like, you're supposed to be the spotlight, you know what I mean? Yeah, so, but it is hard though, because I'm getting that there's not a ton of support, if you will. And it's like the support that you find is a lot within yourself, like the affirmations that you tell yourself about releasing energy you no longer need, or like releasing thoughts, releasing these like conditioned beliefs that you told yourself previously because of what you were dealing with your family and elders, in terms of them trying to make you think you living life a certain way wasn't okay when it really is. Like it's kind of like part of your purpose, part of who it is that you are, like everyone has certain things that they can bring to the plate when it comes to life. And it's something about having that freedom of knowing that you being yourself is 1000% safe. Like you 1000% will be safe, right? Because I'm imagining like a baseball game or a softball game when someone's running into home plate, and I'm imagining like they're thinking to themselves, oh my gosh, I have to get to the plate really fast before the ball comes and they get me out, but it's like the ball is all the way, like it's a home run and you didn't realize it's a home run. And it's like the more that you own up and the more that you're like, this is me unapologetically, the more that it's like you're something about how your family has had, I don't know how to say it, like the difficult times you've had with your family, something about, even if, especially if you're not connected and you want to be connected again, it's like you're trying to, I don't know how to say it except like find your own place, find your own self. And in this time, while you have that kind of space separation from your family and being influenced by them, it's like you're finding out who you are in like the family tree or the lineage, right? What you can bring to the plate when it comes to what people bring in your family, right? Everyone has their own personalities. They have their own light attributes, shadow attributes, masculine, feminine attributes, like their soul attributes. Like there's so much that each individual brings, and there's something about how you bringing what you bring is like, I'm getting destructive right now because you're in a place in your life specifically where it's just kind of like destruction in need of construction, or like destruction because you're constructing, you're building up a way more authentic set of beliefs that fit with you. At the same time, I'm getting that you're starting to be more open to family and to elders and what they have to say in terms of life as well. There was a period, which totally understandable, where you like closed like shop for like 3 months, or like, I don't know, a time period where you were able to really focus and resort in terms of what you tell yourself in the day-to-day, catch your beliefs up, especially in terms of beliefs involving safety, involving home. I'm getting we have 12th house, the unseen, secret enemies, karma, hidden difficulties, seclusion, dreams, spirituality, unconscious mind, right? Definitely, I mean, right? Whoa. Why am I so lucky? Because I'm getting that when you're away from your family, it's like so much easier for you to like actually manifest things that you things that you really want. And then when you're with your family, it's really easy for you to manifest things that you don't want. Do you kind of see where I'm kind of going with this? So like what you want and what you don't want. when you're with your family, or when it comes to subject matter with your family right now, what to kind of work on is bringing your perspective back to the present moment when it comes to the control you have over your life right now. I'm getting that back then. Okay, let me. Okay, back then, it makes sense though, because like as kids don't really have a lot of say in the matter. It's just kind of the way that parenting is. Instead of like raising someone to be an independent adult, they're raised to be like exactly like the parent, in terms of the parent living as if they're the kid themselves. It's like a very interesting kind of perspective, but that's what I'm getting, is like you are finding out who you are as an individual within the family tree. And so you're kind of taking, I'm getting different attributes, different qualities, um, different, different qualities of your ancestry, the family and elders, ancestors, where it really connects with who you are as an individual. And I'm getting that this is for you in terms of when you need that extra support, seeking out and reaching out to your ancestors, in terms of specifically when it comes to matters with your family and with your elders, so that there's something about trying to keep that connection with your family and elders up to date, cleansed, and protected, because it's a very, very important connection when it comes to your manifestations, when it comes to also, I'm getting like love and just feeling supported as well. We have Capricorn, independence, abstraction, and stubbornness. Work related. Totally work related. I don't know if like when it comes to work, I wonder if there's some kind of qualities in terms of your work now, or like your like purpose, something about how like your purpose as an individual, something in relation to your ancestors or your family having similar types of purposes, where it's like they're going to be able to help you, whoever it is that you connect with, will be able to help you. I'm hearing grandmother, but will be able, and auntie, will be able to help you more than anything feel that support when you are like doing this purpose. Because it's like you haven't had a lot of support from like your alive family, you know what I mean? But your family that has passed on, and they're like here supporting you, but your family that's living and like breathing, not so much. Like they're very closed off to you and like your purpose, your authenticity, like what you bring to the table. Something to do with something to do with career though, with work. It stands out a lot with the Capricorn. We have, do I feel satisfied with the love I receive from myself and others? I'm already the best version of myself. 11th house, hopes, wishes, friendships. And when I said the 11th house, this card just popped out. I'm judging my future matter with my present matter mind, right? So I wonder if there's something about your purpose is really connected to releasing and renewing in the mind, and being able to perceive reality, not just for you, but for others, where it's like you literally can see the near future. Like you're an oracle, you're someone who's like tapped in, and I'm getting that your connection with your ancestors is something that's really important to tap into, because that's what is also where your purpose is lying as well. To be able to focus. And it landed over the 12th house. It was like this. So, what's the real purpose of having enemies, having karma, having difficulties, having challenges? It's to show you strength within you you never even knew you were capable of handling, right? Because something about strength that I really, really want to emphasize is that it takes time to build into the strength. However it is, whatever you're strengthening, it always is going to be weaker at the beginning. It's going to be a lot of mistakes. The whole thing is integrating into, more than anything, and I mentioned it a little bit before, but the pattern of behavior. So when it comes to family now, the key thing, the challenge, what can grow you, what can, like 2025, it's coming up, y'all. If you work right now with yourself, when you notice that you are focusing on your like subject thought and your thoughts about your family, observe, more than anything, I'm getting like how your body feels in the moment. Observe the thoughts in terms of observing and not identifying with, because that's the catch 22 right now that's making it like still a difficulty, still a challenge, and not a success, not something that you finished, that you like understand, because you, it's something about you needing to like have that click, and you clicking, you doing this yourself. And when you do this, you're gonna be like, oh, I see. So there's something about when your family and elders come up, it was easy for you, I'm getting, and maybe still is, totally fair, because it's like this like form of betrayal where it's like wounding. There's something about needing to, if you can, when you realize that you're like in this wounding perception with your family, right? Trying to find some way in, later on in the day to give yourself a moment of peace and privacy, right? And privacy is super utmost, I'm getting. Like being able to just focus on you and this certain thing about what popped up with your family, because I'm getting that it's wounding in terms of emotional that still needs to be acknowledged and heard and honored in the present moment. And that's the healing that happens when you kind of heal from trauma and everything, is giving yourself the time, the privacy, and the focus, the respect, the honor of hearing out what it is that this part of you wants to kind of say when it comes to the family, the elders, the frustration. Like, you want to complain, let's give yourself that space to complain, but let's do something with the complaint so that it's not just like hanging out in your brain and taking up focus on things that are more of a priority right now. Because it's kind of like just giving yourself that time and that energy, like in that moment, will give you the relief in the future for when you might have like avoided doing this. When you do it, it's kind of done, it's over with. It's kind of like when you like do the dishes. Like for me, I procrastinate sometimes, but when I do the dishes and they're done, I'm like, wow. I look over, I'm like, that is a bit of a difference. But there's something about, it's kind of like I'm getting some kind of fear of actually seeing and uncovering what is this feeling wanting to say about whatever it is that is coming out. Because I am getting that a lot of like the other parts of your life are a little bit strained as well because of the connection with your family and elders, and how it's more of a cynical kind of connection. Totally understandable. Totally, because seriously, I am feeling some pain, y'all. I am feeling some, like, you're like taking shards of glass out of your back, like backstabbing, you know, even though they are family and even though like they're connected with you, they're still individuals, and they still, like, they do stuff that you have no control over, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, also I'm getting that your trust is going to be healing as well. That connection with trust and with yourself and trusting other people as well will be would be healed as well, or getting healed. um, I am getting that also when it comes to, in the future, having moments of peace with family and elders. It will be a lot more kind of like, it will be a lot more in the near future than the far future, if you're able to heal the connection in the current moment of whenever you decide to. Because that's kind of the beauty of being a human being, is it's when you choose to decide is when things really start to roll. And if you're like really waiting around and you're like, I still don't have that dream romantic partner or that dream job, or I still haven't gone on that dream trip, there's something within you that's resisting. Like, it's a belief, it's a way of perceiving life and like what you're really capable in terms of experiencing with life, that needs to be released. And when you do, it's like the ball is going to roll. Like, the snowball is going to start really forming into a huge snowball. But it's not like a disaster. It's more like it's like a, there's like a, I don't know, like a rooster tail kind of, and it'll be in the air, and then the snowball will just kind of separate, and it's gonna be like snow falling as if it's like snowing. It'll be nice and pretty. Okay, we have ego, and we have why wouldn't I accomplish my goals? So definitely, I don't know if there is goals in relation to family and elders, but yeah, it's kind of like working on the connection in the current moment will really help reconnect to those goals in more of a very efficient kind of connection. Because it's really interesting how, like beliefs, your connections can really, they can be outdated, you know? Sometimes they can get to a point where they're disconnected and you're like, oh my gosh. And it's, you know, everything is going to be okay once you get to that place where you're like, all right, let's look at this. All it needs right now, all you need to do right now is just look at what's up right now in terms of the connections, and more of the non-judgmental, unconditional, yeah, just kind of hearing out, observing more than anything, really observing, being like, oh, I noticed this, oh, I noticed that, oh, I noticed this and that. And then, yeah, because it's something about, in a way, steering clear of I am statements, or even having I in the statement, something like that, or like, because it's kind of like with certain affirmations or with certain ways of telling yourself, you're like reaffirming. And there's something about how we want to release and not reaffirm, and kind of like, I don't know, pour concrete over something in the way that you just did and you messed up previously. Like, I'm getting in cars when Lightning McQueen did his first round on the road, and he was like trying to make the road all nice and pretty, but really he wasn't, because he was impatient, and so he was like going really fast, like, and the machine was like really trying hard to catch up. So I'm kind of getting something about, because when he did it the second time, it was so much more smooth, and it was because he went slower, and like it was like super slow. It was such a difference. But I'm getting right now, going through with your family connection, like the connection with your family and everything like that, to really go slow through it and to take it day by day. If it gets overwhelming, allow yourself rest, you know, because yes, it is a goal, but know that this is going to be something that's like a lifelong goal, where you're going to have to, yeah, kind of just like allow yourself to realize that certain things in terms of your beliefs with your family are not as like, how would I put this? They're not as like, they're not what you think they are, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like you're like making something a bit bigger than what it really is. Because I'm getting that it's like, I'm getting like the voices look really big. If voices could like physically look like something, they look like mountains. But stepping away, even from your perspective, like a little bit back, it's like, wait, no, they're not. It's just kind of their shadow is what makes these mountains, these voices really big, right? So these beliefs tied, this connection tied with your family and elders, it's like you think it's a really important connection, and it is, right? But there's something about the connection with yourself is more important. The way that you are with yourself, the way that you're accepting with yourself is more important than the connection with your family and elders. Because I'm getting that it's kind of like the connection with your family was more of a competition connection with the connection with yourself. Like it's weird how it's like your family was just like literally putting hooks. That's how they connect with you, is they like hook into you, and you're like totally fine being by yourself and doing your own thing, but it's from the, more so than anything, I'm getting worries and their own perception of more of the scarcity and lack, where you're more, way more of the optimistic, someone who thinks of the amount of opportunities, where they're like, this is a lot of fear, like let's stay in. You're like, let's go out and see what's out here because it's so cool. Like you're not afraid in places where your family and your elders are. And I'm getting that you're like in the natural sense not afraid. Like you understand that there's no reason for you to be afraid in this certain way. Okay. We have Gemini, progressiveness, cleverness, and stability. So maybe confirmation, random blank card. I'll get another one. I release all that is not aligned with my highest good. Definitely a lot of different fear-based perceptions, conditioning. I'm worshipped. Not being able, something about not being able to handle the limelight of like, you in your natural state is like, I'm getting something about shyness, or like your family members not wanting to be seen. And there's something about like them putting shame on you, because it's not like you're trying to be seen, it's just something that like happens, right? And instead of like supporting you and being like, we're here for you, instead they're like, quiet. Like be quiet, you know, like trying to dim your authenticity. And there's something about like breaking free. I'm breaking free, soaring, flying. There's not a star in heaven I can't reach. So, like, honestly, like, you've accepted your star-like qualities, right? You've, like, not only accepted it, you believe it. There's different patterns of behavior where it's like, you know what to do in terms of what happens when there's that kind of attention that comes on, or the attention that you attract, when you're like the star like person that you are. Like, you, in a way, like, you know what to do in those moments more than your family and more than your elders do. And there's something about how it's like, at the end of the day, seeing yourself as the elder, to listen to, and more than anything, taking, like, was it a grain of salt, a grain of rice, a grain of sand? I think that's what would fit, a grain of sand. Because there's something about how, like, your life, what you want to do with life, is put on hold a lot of the time due to different types of seeded worry, like the sand, right? Throughout your life, you have been given different particles of sand, right, from your family, beliefs of, like, life is dangerous if you're this certain way, but you've, like, gone to a point where you're like, this is me, like, this is my life, this is what life is. And there's something about how you've accepted it so much that they've told you, like, it's unsafe, but you're like, no, it's safe, like, it's fine, I'm doing it. And it's something about how, like, you just saying that, like, I'm doing it, is like catching yourself up to the present moment of kind of what you're capable most of in any moment of your life, and that's, like, the current moment. So it's kind of, like, interesting, because it's like, I'm getting that all this, you realizing you're capable, is going to be, when, like, you realize it from within you. I'm getting that the connections with your family right now is competing. It's like crossing wires with the connection with yourself in terms of your ego as well. That popped up a little earlier. So yeah, and definitely with pleasure too. I saw a commercial actually right before this on YouTube where it was, at the end, it was like something about pleasure is being human or something like that. I can't remember. But it was really cool because it really helped remind, like, that's one thing in terms of being a human being, is you have pleasure, and there's something about, like, you believing you don't have the right to accept what it is that I guess is available for you right now in terms of, like, opportunity of success, like you taking those different paths. Because it's like something about you being told certain things when you were younger, like worries, cautionary tales, different things that made you perceive life being a certain way, made you perceive people being a certain way. And it's something about you reminding yourself, like, something about you, like, wanting to be open to perceiving life differently in this different way that's different than your family, and that being okay. Like, that being not only okay, but what is needed for you to grow. Confirmation is a way to see if what is of matter is yours. So if you ever get kind of like, yeah, deja vu moments where it makes you kind of nostalgic, really tune into it. Tune into how it is that you feel. And when you feel that kind of miserable feeling, when you feel like your happiness is starting to deplete, you're starting to feel lower, weighed down, like the sun is kind of hiding behind the clouds, there's something about that's when to really stop being logical and having that reason and start tuning into your embodiment, your feeling, because it's kind of like you're perceiving yourself not in the present moment, but like in the past, based off of, interestingly enough, like the state of your embodiment, the feeling motivating your behavior, and then the behavior, if there's like patterns of behavior behind that. It's very interesting. So yeah, so that's the reading. I hope that you enjoyed it. It, yeah, just kind of scattered. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, that's the reading. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you want to check out any of the other videos, by all means, feel free to. There's other collective videos, other pick a cards, random videos. But yeah, yeah, I'll see you in the next video. You'll see me in the next video. Yeah, until next time, my friends. Just take it slow. Like literally take it slow. You'll get there. Bye.